Well, hello, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on where you are on this spinning planet of ours. My name is Frank Lavinia, and oh, Andy is not here. There we go. There's the proper one. It came to my attention that I haven't streamed in all of April, and we're pushing mid-April now, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. Just goes to show you how crazy things have been in Frank's world. I will say that 2023 is speeding up. I mean, certainly this month has just flown by. Last thing I remember, it was April 1st. But today I want to talk to you about something that kind of came up in a presentation that I'm working on. Can't say for who. Um, but it got me thinking about this, right? So if you've been following this, right, last few weeks, I've been talking about kind of rock stars and roadies, right? The idea that um, data scientists are the rock stars, but in order to be rock stars, they need a team of support, whether that's handle the logistics for the tour, carpenters, electricians, sound engineers, the whole nine yards, lighting engineers. I mean, it's just all over the place. So for every one rock star or every one unit of what the rock star does, there's probably about 10 to 15 or more units of work for the roadies, right? And that got me thinking about kind of the big picture of what this looks like, um, and kind of talk about the hierarchy of needs, right? So this is with all apologies to Abraham Maslow, right, who created the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which let's see if I can get a graphic of that. Um, let's see, copy image. There we go. Let's see, am I sharing? I am sharing. Awesome. So he kind of talks about, first our physiological needs have to be met, right? We have to have food. We have to have water. Hey, I'm not even showing on the screen. Or am I? Wow, this really has been a while since All right. So if you look here, right, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs are basically from the bottom up are physiological needs, right? Our need to have air to breathe, to water to drink, food to eat, right? Not suffer from hypothermia. So, shelter, clothing, all of that sort of thing. Then beyond that, it's about safety, right? Am I running from and this goes back a long ways, right? Am I running from a saber-toothed tiger who wants to eat me? What is my, um, Oh, and I just realized I got a call. um, but that's good. I won't ramble on, but too much. So really, kind of, if you look at this, look at this, and you think about this, right? Well, first, it's physiological, then it's safety, right? Then it's belonging and love, right? We are social creatures, right? So we have to have that sense of belonging to our family, to our tribe, et cetera, et cetera. Then we have esteem, right? The belief in ourselves. Then we have cognitive needs, and then aesthetic needs, and then self actualization, and then transcendence. I haven't read his anything on Maslow in a number of years. I'm not quite sure what he means on that, but maybe that means growth and kind of becoming someone else. But if you have no air to breathe, if you have no air to breathe, no water to drink, all of these things, or a tiger is falling at you, or in when I first came across this was after 9/11, right? Like or a building's not falling on you, right? Um, and all of those sorts of things. So you need this stable foundation. Now, me being the data nerd that I am, that sounds awfully familiar to me, right? Now, I'm going to work on this. This is really the first cut of the graphic, but I assure you that this is my new thing to obsess over. And it's good because I kind of beat the gem mining thing to death, and the rock stars and roadies thing. I still think it's got some legs, but it's always good to keep the material fresh, right? So you have physiological, right? Like the hardware and the networking, right? You can't have a data science or an AI project without the hardware to run it on, right? You can't, I was going to say you could run it on an abacus, but even an abacus has to exist, right? And then arguably, I would say networking belongs kind of in this core thing, right? You have to get data from point A to point B. Practically speaking, I'm sure someone could kind of ding me on this one, but I'd say practically speaking, hardware networking are kind of the base here, right? You need that, right? Next is storage, right? You need the actual place to store the data, right? And this here services, it's called services for a very specific reason for this presentation, but effectively, I would say this is the database, right? Or your data lake service, right? Um, and then from there, so you do the data science, right? You look for the patterns. You do the, and I would say probably arguably, if I could zoom in here, it would be data engineering would kind of fit here, right? Because data engineers really kind of handle the first 2/3 of the pyramid, right? Maybe the middle third, right? Because the first third are really kind of the infra folks. Oh, and let me go here. Um, I would say, and if you compare them, if I make them the same size roughly, you can kind of see um, there's kind of a really neat one-to-one mapping here, right? Physiological to hardware networking. Um, Safety, I would consider maybe security, like IT security. Belonging and love, that's a stretch. But I would say anything like here, I would say would kind of be there, right? Um, and for these two, I would say kind of also map to data science. And then, of course, transcendence, top of the pyramid with AI. Now, I realize by referring to AI as some kind of transcendent thing, particularly in a time when people are really worried about things like ChatGPT, may raise some eyebrows. But I really think that I think there's something here, right? And I am working on kind of well, obviously I'm working on this for a presentation, kind of see how that goes. Um, but I think that there's something here in terms of the analogy. I think it maps out pretty well. And the reason why this comes up, at least for me, is there's a whole lot of work here that is unappreciated, right? All of the folks here and here get all the attention, right? And the hype, right? But it's really these folks here, right? The lower 2/3. And I would say storage is kind of evenly split between data science and ops, data engineers and ops people. Data engineers. I can spell, just can't write very well. And then kind of the upper third is really the data science AI crowd, right? And probably at the very tippy top here, probably here, this is where really the research, oops, get a smaller pen. This is where the research is done. This is where the research is done. And again, without the base of the pyramid can't go so tall, right? It's just like anything else. Without the base, without the foundation is ultimately. Ugh, all right, time to reload on some Monster drink. They don't sponsor me, I swear, but they help me. Um, the height of your skyscraper, right, is largely determined by the foundation, right? So how good your AI models can be depends on the layer below it, right? So your research, if you're doing research, really depends on how good your AI practices. Your AI practice is really defined by how good your data science practices. Your data science practice is really only as good as your data engineering is. And your data engineers are only as good as your operations are. And I think this still holds true in the cloud, right? I mean, the cloud does make it easier to just say, "Hey, spin up some infrastructure for me." I don't have to think about it as much. I still have to think about it if I want to keep it safe and secure. On-prem, I think it's twice as important at least, right? Because there's no running a YAML script to fire off another to spin up more clusters and more hardware. So really, this is kind of, I think. So I shared this graphic today, and um, I think it really resonated. I got a lot of good traffic about it, but I think this is worth talking about because I think that things like OpenAI and ChatGPT and Bard and are all capturing the people's imagination. But behind all that um, is something very powerful. Behind all that has to be a team of people that build the foundation, right? No one wants to pour concrete for the sake of pouring concrete, right? We live in a world of 8 billion people, so I'm sure there's at least one or two people out there that do, but ultimately they pour the concrete to build something on top of it, right? And that is the important thing, right? The infrastructure here, as we kind of delve in our large language models and all of these things, and we do computer vision projects, those are all awesome. Don't get me wrong. But without the strong foundation, we can't be at the top of the pyramid without the strong foundation below us. So that's kind of my thinking. Let me know what you think in the comments. If this is one, let me know if you can understand my handwriting, my chicken scratch, I think they call it. Uh, and two, let me know what you think. Let me know if did I leave something out? Should something be in there? Let me know in the comments below, whatever platform you're watching this on. And with that, I am going to jet off to my meeting. And I want to thank you for watching, whether it's live or kind of in the in on demand. And yeah, let me know what you think of this. I think this is an idea worth exploring. And as always, I appreciate you watching. Um, as we say on the Data Driven Show, when you hear data scientists, when you have people kind of here at this part of the pyramid, what do they always say? They always say, first you get the data, right? And that's true from their point of view. First you get the data. But I think that leaves out a whole lot of work, right? So it just kind of, we get a good kick out of that. First you get the data. With that, I'm going to sign off, and I want to thank you for watching. And we dropped a new episode of Data Driven this week. It's going to be, if not the last, but one of the last episodes of season 6. Can you believe it? 7 seasons of Data Driven. I can't believe it. That was, I think, show 324, I think. And we're probably going to release, there's one more, couple more in the can. It's like 2 more in the can. Well, 3. We told the guest that he's going to be a part of season 7. Plus, we're gonna record. Andy and I are gonna do a special, maybe with a special guest. Who knows? On kind of reflecting on 6 years of podcasting, and yeah, we are excited to say that, and maybe this will be a topic for a show. Who knows? All right. So with that, I wish you have a great weekend. As I find the outro graphics. Dun dun dun. There we go. Have a good one.